Welcome, welcome. This is Rajith again of One Illumined Heart. Oh my gosh, things just keep getting better and better. So we know already from my last video that January 3rd, the crystal pillars started tweaking or singing and emitting a frequency that you are divine beings. Well, January 14th, and today's February the 6th, um, another big event has occurred, and the good things aren't going to stop. All the changes are coming. We are in the Aquarian age, like it or not. And we are moving forward into greater hope, into greater love. It's very exciting. So, what is happening right now? Right now, there's another huge gift from the universe. And that is as of January 14th of this year, 2021, for 8 to 9 weeks, depending on the person, whether you'll have 8 weeks of this or 9 weeks of this. We are going to be automatically, for those of us who are not yet done, some of us are already done with this process because we've been working on ourselves for years. But those of you who are not yet done, who are partially on the way, or who are just beginning the journey, are having automatic ancestral lineage releases from your body. I want you to know that in your DNA, there's all kinds of patterns, right? That makes us human. In our epigenetics, there are the memories of our ancestors. Those memories are in our epigenetics, they're registered there. And according to Bruce Lipton, let me read to you what they say in his studies on the biology of belief. It's a great book. Okay, so whoops, let me get my glasses on. That would help. Oh. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what epigenetics is, because this is important for what it is that we're releasing right now. Okay, epigenetics is the study of how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect that affect the way that your genes work. Unlike genetic changes, which are not reversible, epigenetics, whoops, where did you go? Oh, excuse me here. Yeah. Epigenetics are reversible and they can change, and they do not change your actual DNA sequencing. But the way your body reads a DNA sequencing can be changed by the epigenetics or the memory in your cells of what either you experienced on other soul levels or in other physical or in other bodies, that you're carrying your soul information inside your bones where everything is written, and or the epigenetics of your family history on both sides, mother's side, father's side. So over the last few hundred years, do you think maybe we've had a little bit of trauma? A few world wars, smaller wars, people torturing each other, people being abusive, people doing religious persecution, starving one another, starving because of climate, events that occur, cataclysmic earth events. All of those things are registered in our epigenetics. So sometimes people will have an enormous amount of fear around something, and they'll go, well, I haven't experienced anything in this lifetime that would account for the level of fear response that I'm having to something. And this is really important. And I know that I had that for me. I mean, I know that I've had a lot of lifetimes in which I've been killed for who I was, a spiritual healer, a spiritual teacher, whatever the good person down the block was. If I made too many waves by having people listen to me, and me people guiding them or whatever, and the authorities didn't like it, I would get, killed in some lovely, horrible way. So those memories were definitely in me. And as I began to heal all of those and make peace with them, I still noticed that I had an unusual amount of fear in my body. And when I started doing my ancestral lineage release work, a couple of things came up that were really big. One, both of my parents were born, even though they're Caucasian, were born and raised in Indonesia, which was the Dutch had taken over the Indonesian islands. And during the Second World War, the Japanese invaded and made the people who were Caucasians prisoners of war. So my father was in the army, and he was an officer there, but he became a prisoner of war. He helped build the bridge on the River Kwai, and he had, he suffered a lot. He was whipped. He watched his people be whipped and brutalized and tortured. They were starved. There were lots of horrible things that he experienced, and a lot of terror that he experienced in the 4.5 years that he was a prisoner of war. My mother, who was much younger, but was also newly married to him, and became a prisoner of war with her mom. And they also witnessed other people being harmed and killed. They were both beaten. Lots of terror and fear. All right. So I was the firstborn of their children in 47, right after the war. The war ended in May of 45. So fresh in their system were all of these war traumas. And I always knew as a child that I had just this crazy amount of fear and that I never really, really understood. And as I was doing this ancestral lineage release work, I became aware of what a big part the memories that my parents had were in me. When I started releasing it, I actually had some visuals of the kinds of things that happened. I could feel it running through my body, the fear coursing through my veins. It was pretty huge. So I want you to know that other people who have other histories are also experiencing that. And also on my father's side of the family, his side of the family had from his grandfather was a Jewish orphan and was adopted by a French family. And so when I was doing the ancestral lineage release there on my father's side, I was also releasing the what would you call it? The judgments around people being Jewish, and the persecution of the Jews. I don't feel persecuted, but I could feel the energy of it in me that made me feel sometimes that I wasn't worthy or didn't fit in, or, whatever it was. So there were lots of things that transpired in these releases, and they were painful releases. They were not easy. So right now, all of us, I'm already done with all my epigenetic and ancestral releases. However, most of the world is not. So it's a huge, huge, huge blessing that this ancestral lineage is being pulled off. So from January 14th for up to 9 weeks, which would get it to somewhere around March 15th, or a little bit later, maybe the 3rd week of March, there's going to be people releasing automatically their ancestral lineage information and the epigenetics of the traumas that people had experienced in their family. So it's really important to know that this is what's happening, and it's a blessing, because this is not material then that we're going to have to be getting triggered by when we see events on television or see events in our lives. When we clear this energy, we'll be more neutral. We'll be able to stay more present, more in love, more in harmony. But this stuff has got to go in the new frequency of 5th dimensional reality. We have to let go of things that do not serve us anymore. Okay, so let's see here. Let me just go back and look at my notes. Okay, the other thing about epigenetic releases is that everything is in the cellular memory of your body and your physiological traits, because like you wear your ancestors on your face and on your body. And then I look at, when I look at myself and I look at my family pictures, I see my sister, my brother, my other sister, we all kind of, look a bit alike. And then I see it in my parents and in my grandparents in pictures. So we all have those physiological traits, all right? How we respond to the external environment, how we're triggered by it, is also depends on our ancestral lineage epigenetic information. Okay, so what is it that we are releasing? So it's really important to know we are releasing our personal traumas that we have experienced in other lifetimes, as if it's especially if it's connected to ancestral stuff. Um, we are releasing the memories our ancestors had of cataclysmic events on the planet that they lived through. We are releasing negative belief systems. So, all of us, we've all had exposure to people saying that we're not good enough, or we shouldn't do that because we're not smart enough, or we don't have that particular skill set, or, no matter what you do, you're never really good enough. Or you have the sense of, I'm not allowed to love myself and appreciate myself. And that can have nothing to do with actually who you are, but it can have everything to do with what your ancestors believed about themselves and about their lives, okay? Or I will never have enough money, because your ancestors could have suffered extreme poverty or privation in some way. And so there's a belief system that no matter what you do, you're never going to have enough money. Oftentimes money stuff, some of it is ancestral lineage programming, but a lot of it is also karmic. So just know that you have karmic reasons that you are not, um, the wealthiest person in the world. It may not be part of what you chose as a lesson to be here, to be rich or to be poor. Maybe you're just meant to be middle of the road. It doesn't matter. All of it's part of our fate that we have chosen to come and work things out and or to learn and experience. So life is a huge smorgasbord of experiences. So before we come into a body, we decide who our family is going to be, what that family energy is, how does that serve us or not serve us, who is going to agree to love and support us in this family or challenge us. So, I mean, we set up our lives. We are 100% co-creators, folks. It is a huge deal. So to be releasing this ancestral lineage is just more stuff that we can get rid of, that we don't get triggered by. And also when we don't carry it, guess what? When we don't carry a particular trait or belief system or a memory anymore, then people who are around us in our field also don't get triggered by what we are not carrying, because we're not carrying it. Sometimes people are triggered by what we are carrying. We may not have said anything wrong, but it just may be in our energy field. Like, I'm not good enough. Some people don't want to be around somebody who's got a program of I'm not good enough. Or I deserve to be poor. Our family's always been poor, so I'm going to be poor. Some people don't want to be around that. And other people are like, oh, I'm way better than you are, and what are you doing in my life? And other people don't want to be around somebody like that. So there's all kinds of ways that we trigger one another. And from experiences that we've had, or belief systems that we're holding, or an energy that we're holding. So the more clear we become, it is easier for somebody else to be in our field with us. We become more welcoming agents of light, of love, brotherly and sisterly love on the planet, because people begin to feel safer in our presence. It's a huge deal. So welcome this opportunity of the ancestral lineage being pulled off of you automatically, up to 50% in this first 8 weeks to 9 weeks. Then the second batch of that other 50% that needs to go, for those who aren't completed yet or who haven't started all of it, that will occur all of May and all of June into early July. So that's the second batch. Now, here we come again to the place that we are in so many of my other videos, that we all have to be a particular frequency to benefit at the highest levels of these big changes that are going on right now in the Aquarian age, and this opportunity to move into fifth dimensional frequency. So let's just go take a look at, I want to make sure that I haven't, a couple of things before we start there. Sorry. These are some of the things that get released, because I made a huge list of them. So after belief system, we release abuse of experiencing abuse by a family member in our lineage, or abusive parents in a lineage that impacted the children, that also gets passed down, or abuse by others. Grief that people have had around losses or experiences that have been very painful. Hunger. Perhaps some people were starved to death and caused privation. Some people starved because of crop failures, floods, whatever the reason may be, but that energy may be inside your bones. Isolation, religious persecution. The other big thing that gets to be released, oh my gosh, is so big for some of us, is addictive behaviors. So sometimes we have self-soul hate. So we choose an addiction of whether it's, it could be any of them, like alcoholism or drugs, sex addiction, gambling, prostitution, whatever it may be, hoarding, can be all part of this, I'm not enough, there isn't enough, or compensating for these experiences that people have had in the epigenetic or ancestral lineage history that we're all carrying, and we all are carrying it, and so all of that gets to be released. So the people who are able to immediately respond to this first January 14th into March, third week of March, experience of releasing the ancestral lineage are people who are at least a spiritual level of 10. Now, for those of you who are watching this for the first time, I've often talked about spiritual levels. We have spiritual level 5.0 to 14.9, which is possible as we move into fifth dimensional frequency. So fifth dimensional frequency starts with level 10 all the way up to 14.9. And when the gates close for that energy pattern in 5D at the end of June of 2022, the people can move into a higher frequency than 14.9, but it's not feasible for this lower level unless you're like a guru or someone who's done huge spiritual work and gotten huge spiritual accomplishments and have a divine mission of some sort to help guide other people. So the people who are level 10 and up will be able to have this done automatically, who haven't started it or who haven't completed the process. So those of us who are higher frequency want to assist all other people who are of lower frequency to get them up to 10 so that we can get more people moving this epigenetic and ancestral lineage material off of them, out of their bones, out of their cells, so that that energy can move out of there so that they can be more clear and they can hold more light and they can be freed from all of those triggers within themselves to the universe and other people, as well as other people not being triggered by them. The more we empty our vessel of anything that's negative, whether it's ancestral lineage or our personal karmic experiences in multiple bodies and belief systems that we have, when we get rid of all of that and our bones, literally our bones and our muscles and everything become more clear for divine light and love to move through, the greater the opportunity we have to serve the divine, which is, the God in us, and expand ourselves into the biggest, best expression of who we can be on the planet and what we are to do, tuning into our divine mission of what is possible for us and how it is we want to interact with the rest of the world. Okay, so how many of these releasing events are we going to have this year? So I was told there would be 4, okay? So the first group, the levels 10 through 14.9, will be starting here January 14th through into probably the 3rd week of March for those who are not yet completed. The second 50% of what's being released will occur beginning May 5th through about July 10th at the end point. And that will get the next 50% done for people in these higher frequencies. Now, our work together, folks, is so exciting, is to help those who want to awaken into higher levels of themselves, higher expressions of possibility. So we want to help you, as many of you as want to be helped, into that greater light and awakening. And so we are here to support you in your healing, in letting go of what does not serve you. Letting go of negative belief systems, letting go of any judgments or curses or condemnations that you may have put on yourself, on your relationship with the divine. I know that sounds awful, but it does happen. And sometimes with good reason, most of the time with darn good reason, as well as, we might have done it to others. And all those things block parts of our higher self-consciousness from being down here with us. So it reduces our spiritual connection level. Also, sometimes people are new to the planet. And maybe it's their first or second life or third life here. So they don't yet have a huge spiritual body, but they still want to be in this connection to the divine energy of love and brotherhood. Just because they're a 5 or 6 doesn't mean they don't get to go up there. They do. The divine wants that energy. And as long as you're willing to do the work to get up there, the universe will give mercy and grace galore for that intention to be fulfilled and for you to be supported in that love and in that light and in that possibility. Okay, so the second group of people who make it to level 10, so we're going to be working with people a lot beginning the end of February, so that perhaps when the second half of the people who are finishing from the first part of the release of the first 50%, the second 50%, there might be also a whole bunch of souls, thousands of them, hopefully millions, that will join us and will be releasing their first set of the 50% of their epigenetic and ancestral lineage history. And then those people who started their first set will be finishing theirs in their second set, or the third opportunity for this event that occurs between August 5th and October the 10th. So guess what, folks? The universe is serious about supporting humanity in rising itself up by choice. You are a divine being. You get to choose. Do you want to express your divinity, or do you want to express your darkness? It is your choice. And we are here to help you lift you up to where you want to go. Ascension is a real thing. All right? I have worked hard for years and years to get where I am. And you guys get to go down the slide really quickly. You don't have to work for years and years. But I'm glad I helped in the labor process. I know what it's about now. Okay, then the group that might be starting in August to October for their first round, while the others are finishing their last round, they're going to need a second round in which to finish. So that second round gets completed November 3rd to January 11th, 2022. So the divine is providing all kinds of support, love, and help to all of us to make the best of ourselves and our own possibility. So know that since January 14th, if you are level 10 on up, you are releasing epigenetic information. It's very, very important for you to know that that is what's happening. Okay. I'm trying to think of what else to tell you. Those of you who want to know how to raise your frequency, I do have some videos out on that. I will tell you that besides what I said about prayers and forgiveness work and devotional work Your diet is extraordinarily important to reduce your karmic load, to lighten up your physical vehicle with lighter frequency foods to match where it is that we're going. Also, less karma. You stop eating flesh food. Move, if you're not a vegetarian yet, move into transition diet. Go online, go look at my YouTube One Illumined Heart channel. Look for the videos on what to eat and how to do a transition diet. And online on the internet, there is tons of information of how to move into a transition diet to become a vegetarian. Some people may choose to go whole food, plant-based. Some people may choose to also do, no dairy. Some people may choose to also let go of any fats outside of natural fats like, nuts, seeds, and avocados, things like that. So there's many different ways, and other people will want to keep doing dairy. So whatever your choice is in becoming vegetarian or vegan, and you have to work with your body. And remember that there's 2 to 3% of the population that may need to build their crystal body a little more slowly because their bodies require a little bit of flesh food every week. Maybe, 4 or 5 servings to begin with, and then it may reduce down to 3 for a while until their body gets to the 4th level of their crystal body, and then it'll be easier to just move into full vegetarian diet. So know that those are all the ways to begin to raise your frequency. I have videos on that. If you don't know where you are on your frequency level and you want to be part of this game-changing event on the planet where you get to own you are a divine being, you get to release your epigenetics and your ancestral lineage, this is a gift from the universe. If I were you, I would jump on that wagon and go as fast as you can and join us. So know that I have videos on how to build that crystal body, how to become a vegetarian, how you raise your spiritual frequency. You may also contact me directly if you want to know what your spiritual frequency is and send me a selfie. info@oneilluminedheart.com. Or you can leave me a message on the YouTube channel, and you can leave me a message on my Facebook page, which is One Illumined Heart. I'll be glad to respond to you. I also have a team of people who are high frequency who will be able to also test what spiritual frequency you are. Most people will be doing this either at no charge or a very nominal donation, but a quick check on what you are is usually free. If you need some help with work in terms of, doing some healing work to do some releases and you want some guidance on that, then there are people available through me and through other sources. So know that the universe here is to love you, to support you, to lift you up, to lift all of humanity up into a greater possibility. Please join us. Please join the excitement. Own the beauty of who you are. Be the grand expression of love that you are in your own unique way. So we thank you, we love you, and bless you. Take very good care of yourself. And remember, where there's life, there is hope.